So there's an onslaught of Extrait de Parfum fragrances out there on the market, and it seems like more and more are coming out. What I'm doing today is putting together a video for you, a ranked list of some of my favorite Extrait de Parfum fragrances. And we're focusing on brands that normally do not launch Extrait de Parfum fragrances. For example, Tiziana Terenzi, they're all Extrait de Parfums. They're not included here. We've got Jeroboam, who does all Extrait de Parfums. They're not included here. I'm focusing on brands that traditionally do not do Extrait de Parfums, but they have released Extrait de Parfum fragrances. So this is a ranked list of 20 Extrait de Parfum fragrances, some of my best and most loved fragrances. If you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian. I'm talking about fragrances that come in Extrait de Parfum concentration. Are you a fan of this most intense variety of perfumes? Let me know. Put a comment down below. I really love the Extrait de Parfum fragrances. There's a lot out there, and it seems like it's getting a lot more. A lot of stuff is coming out. Like, for example, Une Nuit Nomade launched 3 new Extrait de Parfum. I've got 2 of them here. There's d'Orsay Paris that just launched 3 together as well. I've got 2 of them here. There's Atelier Materi that launched 3 together as well. I've got 1 of them here, and so on and so on. So I feel like Extrait de Parfum is going to be something very trendy very soon. We're going to see a lot more. In fact, one of the fragrances from BDK, their new fragrance, Rouge Smoking in Extrait de Parfum, I don't have it here. I haven't even got my nose on it, but we have one fragrance from that brand here with an Extrait de Parfum. The only other rule with this list is from the last couple of years. So 2023 and 24 are what's included here. Let's get started with the list. Going to a house that's fairly underrated, ORMAIE Paris. It's Trois 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 Extrait de Parfum, this one right here. So this traditionally did come in an Extrait de Parfum, in an Eau de Parfum. Now they've launched a more concentrated take on the original, and it is a kind of a slightly fruity, very masculine, spicy, woody take on a fragrance. I feel like it's improved upon the original. There I go again. I really love intense fragrances. But sometimes they're, well, actually, I should say, sometimes they're not that great. Sometimes they are great. And they've done a great job here. For example, BDK has Gris Charnel Extrait. I don't call that one of my favorite fragrances, but Passoir Extrait is here. And I absolutely love that. Here, with this fragrance, I think it's totally improved upon the original. It's sandalwood, raspberry wood, incense, cedar, amber, osmanthus, leather, davana, bitter orange, vetiver, and ginger. If you guys don't know about this house, please check it out. This is Trois 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 Extrait, spicy, woody, slightly fruity amber fragrance. That's really, I think, definitely perfect for in replacement of the original Eau de Parfum, and also a great way for you guys to check out that line because that particular fragrance I really recommend. And then we're moving on to the house of d'Orsay Paris. This is one of the 2 fragrances that just launched in Extrait de Parfum. This is Incense Crush, created by Julien Rascanet. It's leather, oakwood, olibanum, cedarwood, vetiver, cardamom, and cloves. I am into incense fragrances, but more on the slightly sweeter side. I like it mixed with vanilla and perhaps leather. This one does have leather, but it doesn't have a lot of sweetness, so it's mostly a very cold take on a fragrance. It has some warmth in there as the fragrance develops, like the cloves comes in to kind of give it a bit of a warm, spicy effect. But there's lots of leather. There's oakwood, olibanum, cedarwood, vetiver, cardamom, and of course cloves. I wanted it to be a slight bit sweeter, but between the 3 fragrances from this house, this is my second favorite. This is Incense Crush. And I should say between the 3 different Extrait de Parfum fragrances from that house, and they just launched those 3. I have a video with one of the folks behind the brand of those 3 Extrait de Parfums. Go catch that video. But moving on to the house of Atelier des Ors, it's Cocoa KIMYA, this one right here. So this is a brand new release. This is one of 2 Extrait de Parfums from this house. These are brand new fragrances, so they haven't launched as a Eau de Parfum and then getting the Extrait de Parfum treatment. Just like the previous ones, we have some fragrances that get the Extrait de Parfum treatment, and then we have some truly original fragrances. This is a truly original fragrance, and they've only credited cocoa and cardamom, but for me, when I wear this one, it gets very ambery and musky as well, in addition to the cocoa and cardamom that they credit here. On me, it's musky, like something like Sadonaso musky or original musk musky, but it's got the sweetness there as well, the cocoa sweetness, the spiciness, and you name it, there's ambery touches here as well. I like this one a lot. It's not ranked higher. For me, it's a bit not as strong as I wanted it to be, but as a smell, I absolutely love it. So I've put it here at number 18. It's Cocoa KIMYA. Next, going to the house of Maison Crivelli, it's Oud Maracuja. This is it right here. So you're gonna see a lot of Maison Crivelli fragrances. I've left some off, and they've been cranking them out constantly. And I don't have a few of them as well, so I can't feature them. But I was going back and forth where to feature this one. It's turned out to be at number 17 because I really enjoy the other ones a lot more. But if you like the idea of an oudi, fruity fragrance, you're going to have to try this one because I think it's a job well done. But when I was trying to select where it lands, it landed here at number 17. But it's lots of passion fruit, Ebelia, saffron, Turkish rose, patchouli, benzoin, leather, amber, vanilla, labdanum, and a kigala wood. Are you a fan of Oud Maracuja? Let me know. I think it has a lot of fans. But it's also a great extrait de parfum and truly original. It doesn't come as an eau de parfum. It's a original extrait de parfum launch for that house. And speaking of Maison Crivelli, they're doing and cranking out a lot of extrait de parfums. I feel like they're focusing on their extrait de parfums more now. They've kind of neglected the eau de parfum collection. Maybe that's what sells more, I don't know, but I like their extrait de parfum fragrances. I've got several favorites, including Patchouli Magnetic, which sadly didn't make the list because it was launched a year prior to 23. Next up, going to the house of Marc-Antoine Barrois. This is Ganymede Extrait. I wanted to put this up higher, but it ended up here. You know, I really love the original, and even though I'm kind of getting more and more into the Extrait, I feel like it's very close to the original. That's the only reason why I've put it here at number 16. If I felt like it was as beefy as B683 Extrait from the house, I would have put that a lot more higher to the top. But it's perfectly situated here. It's a great smell, don't get me wrong. It features everlasting flower, incense, myrrh, safraleine, akigala wood, mandarin. So it's fairly similar. It's a bit changed and not so much more potent than the original. But I feel like you can't really intensify Ganymede. So I think it's perfect the way it's done. Here, I like this one a lot, but I feel like it's not so different than the original, if that makes sense. So that's why it's here at number 16. Let me know if you're a fan of Ganymede Extrait. Put a comment down below, or do you prefer the original? What differences do you get between the original and the Extrait? But moving on to the house of Les Eaux Primordiales, we've got two fragrances from this house. The first one is Ambre Supermassive. As I've been mentioning, I felt like this was not a wow for me, but it has super grown on me, and I'm really, really loving it. And sometimes fragrances do that. I dismiss them and then come back to them. Sometimes no, I still hate them or don't like them as much. Here, it's grown on me quite a bit. Definitely prefer this version over the original amber from this house, and this is basically a recreation of an amber in extrait de parfum form. They also have another extrait which was a truly original, and they didn't come in an eau de parfum. But this is cinnamon, apples, vanilla, rum, honey, amber, peach, sesame, tobacco, saffron, musk, heliotrope, pineapple, rose. This was recently featured in a pumpkin spice fragrances video as well. It's super delicious, very holiday, spicy, fruity, ambery, and again, really, really wonderful offering. Ambre Supermassive from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales. Then we're going back to Maison Crivelli. This is Cuir Infrarouge, this one right here, a brand new one, and it's leathery, lots of leather here for sure, and there's some fruity touches and vanillic touches. On skin, it's a nice combo of sweetness, fruits, sweetness from vanilla, and then of course leather. Most people start thinking, okay, there's raspberry here, there's raspberry. Does it smell like Tuscan leather? You know, I think the only thing that might smell like leather might be, Tuscan leather might be the leather. But personally, to me, this leather doesn't smell like the Tuscan leather. So for me, this doesn't smell like Tuscan leather whatsoever. But noses are different. They smell different things. They pick up different things. You can connect this to Tuscan leather. I don't. But it's a leather, vanilla, raspberry, cinnamon, oud, orris, osmanthus, bergamot, cedarwood, patchouli. So it has a lot of warmth here, not only from the vanilla, but also the cinnamon, some freshness from the raspberry, and of course that leather in here. And again, for me, the leather doesn't remind me of the leather in Tuscan leather. But again, noses are different. What do you get from Cuir Infrarouge from the house of MAISON CRIVELLI? Let me know, add a comment below. Another thing you're going to notice, there's a lot of Quinton Biche fragrances here, like this next one from the house of Amouage. It's Guidance 46. This is an amber floral fragrance, and it's a nice intensified take on the original. And as I was saying in another video, there's a whole signature of Quinton Biche in this, that whole milky, fruity, kind of rosy kind of a thing. It reminds me of Dalina a little bit, but of course, different formulas, but similar kind of construction, perhaps, similar kind of skeleton, and he, adds different things to it. But in the end, this is a lot of akigala wood, ambrette, rose water, pear, sandalwood, frankincense, bitter almonds, hazelnuts, osmanthus, saffron, and you name it, so on and on. It's a fruity, floral, amber floral fragrance, and a perfect take on the original. You might like the original more. I prefer it more like this, more intense, more ambery, more depth. I like that about it, and I think it's a great take on the original Guidance. So this is Guidance 46 from the house of Amouage, but next moving on to the house of Atelier Materi. This is Neroli Hasbaya, this one right here. God, this is so good, guys. If you haven't tried this one, please do, especially if you like fragrances like, but not identical to it. The idea of Love Don't Be Shy or Sintra or any of those kind of orange blossom mixed with sweetness. It's kind of like that, but this is more on the nutty side. There's pistachio nuts here and almonds, and the actual neroli orange blossom that's in here is quite soapy. So it's gourmand, and then it actually has that soapiness. So it's kind of a strange contrast, but it really works because I love the nuttiness in this with the pistachios and the almonds against the orange blossom. It's super fantastic, and it smells super delicious. On me, it's mostly that soapy orange blossom with the idea of the nuts, but there's also woods here and balsamic ambery notes as well when it's drying down. So that's Neroli Hasbaya. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. Then we've got a fragrance from the house of Acro, their first Extrait de Parfums. This is Glow. This Glow is so good. The only problem, as far as smell goes, it's super delicious. My only problem is it's not as intense, but I really love the way it smells, and it wears perfectly on me. It's an Extrait de Parfum, but I feel like they could have amped up the intensity a little bit more. But in the end, it's vanilla. There's amber here, incense, pink pepper. So it's spicy, smoky, definitely resinous and balsamic here with the combo of the amber and the vanilla. It's nicely done. My only complaint is they could have jacked up the intensity a little bit, but as a smell, it's so super delicious. So that is Acro's Glow. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Up next at number 10, going to the house of Room 1015, it's Cherry Punk Extrait with its new unique clothing for the bottle. Very punk attitude. So Cherry Punk Extrait is a leathery take on cherry punk. So if you like the idea of cherries in a fragrance, like Lost Cherry, this one, to me, they've amped up the leather a lot more. It's a bit less gourmand, and that's what I like about this one. It's black leather with saffron. There's cherries, there's tonka, patchouli, Sichuan pepper, violets, mimosa, jasmine. So this is created by Jérôme Epinay. He's a great perfumer. He does some great work, especially for Byredo and Wilhelm Parfumerie, and I think he did a great job with Cherry Punk, and now the Extrait version is my favorite. If you like the idea of something like Lost Cherry, not identical, but the cherry is very pronounced with an overdose of leather. There's leather here and also saffron, which smells leathery. This is the one you should try. So this is Cherry Punk Extrait from the house of Room 1015. Next at number 9, going to the house of Essential Parfum, and this is Bois Imperial Extrait. And I did a full review from the mini decant that I have. So if you haven't caught the review, go catch it. But I don't have a bottle yet to show you. I'm showing you the decant. Of course, the photo that will flash on screen will show you the bottle. So this is a more intense take on the original Bois Imperial. This is featuring black and Timut pepper, rose, leather, atlas cedar, fir balsam, and ladanum. If you like the original, for me, comparing the two together, the original has more of an ethereal, airy quality compared to the Extrait, which is a lot more ambery because the ladanum is very intense. But also, the rose comes in. It doesn't overwhelm with rose. I feel like the rose is more of a step to the base notes. It's just there, but it doesn't act very rosy to me. I mean, at least to my nose. But it's uber spicy and of course very woody. And then there's musky, minerally touches in here. And then of course in the dry down, it's woody, ambery. But that's Bois Imperial Extrait. It's a really great one. If you haven't tried it, please do. I think that should be launching very, very soon if it hasn't by the time this video airs. But moving on to the first of two Nuit Nomade fragrances. This is Estrella de la Mañana. This is a brand new fragrance in Extrait de Parfum, part of their trio of Extrait de Parfum fragrances that they just launched. It's interesting. 3 brands, d'Orsay, Atelier Materi, and Nuit Nomade, launching 3 Extrait de Parfum fragrances at once. This to me is a very smoky, leathery take on vanilla. Don't expect a gourmand with this one. It's more of a very masculine take on vanilla with that overdose of birch, and it comes off very leathery and smoky here. But there's a vanilla, there's cocoa, and benzoin, so eventually it becomes ambery in the dry down. But I think you can't get away from the birch. It's really, really pronounced. It's really there, and it's very smoky. Do check it out though. You might like this kind of a thing if you're not into the sugary, sweet, vanillic notes. This might be the kind of vanilla you could wear. So that's Estrella de la Mañana from the house of Nuit Nomade. Then moving on to the house of BDK. This is Passoir Extrait. Until I can get my nose on Rouge Smoking Extrait, I'm definitely going to be recommending this one. This is currently my favorite fragrance from this house. I really love the fruity floral qualities. And of course for the patchouli in the dry down as well. It's super sexy. And it has quince chutney, tangerine, cashmeran, jasmine, pears, patchouli, black pepper, ginger, cocoa. So there's a lot of warmth and, you know, earthy touches here, along with fresh, zingy, spicy touches as well together. It creates a really nice explosive fragrance with a great trail and also amazing projection. I've gotten compliments with this one, and it's a given. It's got patchouli in it, and that's the kind of note that really projects off of you when you're wearing it in a fragrance. If you haven't tried it, please try it. It's Passoir Extrait from the house of BDK at number 7. So this next one I haven't spoken about on the channel, but I've posted about it recently on Instagram. And actually, man, this is so super amazing. I've gone straight to the Extrait de Parfum. This has a eau de parfum. Never really, you know, gave it a chance because I came across this one. Instant love and had to have it. So this is from the house of Paris Monte Carlo. It's Vanille de Tahiti. Have you tried this one, guys? It's a different take on vanilla, not a masculine take. I feel like it's a feminine take, but more unisex, I think. It's loads of Tahitian vanilla with ylang ylang. There's champaca, magnolia, sandalwood, amber, and musk. Super delicious combo. I feel like it's vanilla swimming in white flowers and yellow flowers. So there's a bit of a tropical edge to it. So it adds freshness against the warmth. You know, it has the amber and the dry down, of course, with the musk and also the vanilla. And it's just all of the white flowers and yellow flowers up top, the champaca, the magnolia, which are kind of related flowers. And then, of course, the ylang is a tropical yellow floral. So just imagine taking these flowers, drizzling it with a lot of vanilla, amber, and musk. That's the kind of fragrance you get. It's so super delicious. I highly recommend it. I need to now go back and see what the EDP is all about. But for me, it's all about the Extrait de Parfum. Vanille de Tahiti Extrait de Parfum from the house of Paris Monte Carlo. But at number 5, going to the house of Maison Crivelli once again. This is Tuberose Astral, this one right here. What a compliment getter this one is. Oh my God, I get so many compliments. People really react positively to it. I think Quinton Biche knocked it out of the park with this one. It's cinnamon bark, tuberose, osmanthus, carrot seeds, cistus, musks, vanilla. So it has sweetness and ambery touches and muskiness when it's drying down. There's also warm spices here, but it's all about the tuberose and osmanthus, and the osmanthus provides a little bit of a fruitiness there, and of course a powdery effect like an iris thing coming with the carrot seeds. It's a great fragrance. If you haven't tried it, please do. I think this is the kind of fragrance that I really, really love from Quinton Biche. I didn't care for the hibiscus mahajad from this house. I didn't care for the amber either. The patchouli is good. I love it. It's milky, it's lactonic, but it's very polarizing. This one, I think it's universally loved, and I absolutely love it myself. So this is Tuberose Astral from the house of Maison Crivelli. But moving on to the house of Amouage, this is Jubilation 40, this one right here. This is the second Amouage fragrance. If you've been complaining that the original Jubilation has gotten weak and reformulated, you've got to try this one. This is super amazing, and they've done a great job with the Extrait de Parfum here. So basically, it comes off a bit very menthol type. The notes combined together gives me that kind of an effect. almost like a pine forest with menthol kind of notes mixed in together. So if you like the idea of a forest, the pine and menthol together with a lot of ambery touches, because this is a woody amber fragrance, you've got to try this one. But it has a paponax, blackberry, orange, patchouli, moss, frankincense, oud, myrrh, ambergris, cistus, labdanum, davana, blackcurrant. A lot of great things happening. And I love the original, but it's very airy and thin. This is intense, uber dense, and very long lasting, and super amazing. This is Amouage Jubilation 40 at number 4. So 3 more to go. We've got the next fragrance from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales, the second fragrance. This is Vanille Supermassive. This is one of my favorite vanilla fragrances, and once again, leaning on the masculine side. It's got vanilla, labdanum, caramel, patchouli, elemi, ambroxan, cinnamon, white musks, bergamot, and fir. It's almost like a vanilla explosion in a wooded pine forest. So you've got ambery touches in the dry down. There's also musky touches here as well with the ambroxan. Warmth from cinnamon, but I get a lot of woods, lots of woods, and almost like pine forest and fir forest and things like that. And it's this vanilla caramel explosion with the muskiness and also the smells of the forest. It's a great fragrance, super sexy, a different take on vanilla, really wonderful take on vanilla, but a super amazing vanilla. This is Vanille Supermassive from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales, recently featured in the Scent Club. Hopefully you guys got to get that fragrance and you enjoyed that one. But moving on to the next fragrance, the second fragrance from Une Nuit Nomade. This is Jardin de Misfa Extrait. So remember, there was a truly original extrait that they just launched, Estrella de la Mañana. Then they also launched an extrait de parfum of one of my favorite fragrances from their house, Jardin de Misfa, which was actually featured in its original eau de parfum form in a 4th Scent Club kit. But the extrait is just a lot more intense. To me, they smell very similar and just an intensified take on the original. But it has a lot of dates, honey, rose, davana with almonds. It's like a rose jam or a Middle Eastern rose dessert with sprinklings of saffron on top, because you get a bit of a saffron leathery edge here. Then, of course, the honey, the almonds, and all that good stuff. It's almost like a rose, honey, saffron, almond dessert come to life, but in a very intense form. So that's Jardin de Misfa Extrait de Parfum at number 2. And my number 1, guys, you guys know what it is? This is Tonka Hysteria from the house of d'Orsay. I can't get enough of this fragrance. It's one of my favorite launches of 2024. I knew about this one a year ago, September, October of this year, when I got a preview of it and it's work in progress. Then I smelled it earlier this year at Excense. I think it was in March or April, and really loved it, and I couldn't wait for it. And it's out now, and it's super delicious. It's a tonka bean gourmand and one of the best tonka bean fragrances out there. It's mandarin, vanilla, tonka, benzoin, myrrh, orris, cinnamon, olibanum, pink pepper. It's got a lot of peppery spiciness and also peppery smokiness from the olibanum or incense note that's in here. But it's very nutty, almondy with a tonka. A bit boozy, cherried, but also ambery and resinous when it's drying down. It's super delicious. One of the best fragrances, I think, that I've put my nose on, and Jordi Fernandez did a great job with this fragrance. That's Tonka Hysteria from the house of d'Orsay, and that's the last fragrance at number 1, guys. What are your thoughts on these Extrait de Parfums, and am I missing something? Again, I was trying to put together a list of fragrances that were recently launched. So it's 2023 and 2024. I know there's a lot more out there. I don't have them or decided not to feature them here, but let me know what's missing, what I should have added. What are you preferring? Add a comment below so I can find out. But thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.